We have Congressman Byron Donalds with us of Florida as well, who wants to have an epic throwdown with Clay on this one. It was a shortened version yesterday. I am munching popcorn over here, Clay. You guys go ahead.
All right, Congressman, let's start here. I read Trump making comments about DeSantis to blame as a total joke, right? Like he was having fun with the mess and saying, oh, let's just blame DeSantis for this. I'm sure, is that the way you read that too? I mean, I know some people are treating it like it's a serious thing, but I think Trump was just kind of having fun with it and being a little bit funny on Truth Social with that comment.
Well, you asking me if I think that?
Yeah. Like, how would you, you don't think Trump actually thinks DeSantis is to blame for Florida State not getting in the playoff, right? Some people are treating that seriously.
No. I don't think so. I think that's just a joke. I mean, listen, the president's having fun with it. And also, look, he's up big in the polls all through the country. So he's having a little fun, with the governor as well. But, it's not his fault. The fault lies with the committee. We all know this. That's where the fault lies with.
Okay, so what should happen to the committee in your mind? There's been, I'm sure you saw Rick Scott wrote a letter saying that he wants to preserve their text messages and data and whatnot. And Ron DeSantis, I think, has left $1 million now in the Florida budget to examine this. Is there a role for Florida politicians to be playing in this debate and this decision in your mind?
Well, I'm not totally there, but the reason why I think they are engaged in this is, first of all, what the committee did was wrong to the players. That's number one. Number two, Florida State is a state institution. They are funded by the state government. They get taxpayer money. This decision by the committee, by all told, cost the ACC and Florida State over $10 million. That's a major investment in Florida State. So, there's reasons why people are looking at this. But third and overall, an unbeaten team, a Power 5 champion, is left out. That just doesn't pass the smell test. Unless you are an alumni or a student at Texas or Alabama, you're looking at that and you're looking at this saying, man, this is fishy. It stinks. Who got paid and what's going on? People need to look into this.
Wait, Clay, do you totally agree? Wait, hold on, Mr. Clay.
Yeah, you're
moderating.
moderating.
Do you agree with everything Congressman Donalds is saying here? Because I thought you guys didn't see
I disagree with him. I think that because of the injury to Jordan Travis, Florida State had an opportunity to play against Florida, and they got an opportunity to play against Louisville. They won both those games. The defense was very solid, but I think Florida State's a touchdown worse than they would have been with Jordan Travis. So I would have agreed with the committee. I would have put in Texas and I would have put in Alabama over Florida State because I think given the rosters and the situations and the charge of the committee to put the four best in, I think that those teams, both Texas and Alabama, are better than Florida State was at the end of the year.
Okay, now here's what I'm going to do, Clay, so just sit tight. I'm going to break all this down. First, let's take Alabama. I am not opposed to Alabama being in. I think it was the right call by the committee. Alabama is appropriately ranked at 4. They beat the number 1 team in the country, Georgia, neutral field, last game of the season. They deserve to be in. The issue is Texas. First of all, Texas, the same Texas team, they beat Alabama in week 3 when Alabama was not the Alabama you saw beat Georgia. Much weaker team. Milroe got benched after the Texas game. This is the same Texas team that beat TCU by 3 points. They beat Kansas State by 3 points, looking god-awful. They lost to Oklahoma in the Red River shootout, and they beat an Oklahoma State team for the Big 12 championship that lost to South Alabama 33-7 and lost to UCF 45-3. UCF isn't even the 4th best team in Florida, and Oklahoma State beat them 45-3. That's who Texas beat for the Big 12 championship. So you're going to sit here and tell me that Texas could jump 4 spots on the last week over Florida State when Florida State went on to road with the second-string quarterback and beat Florida in Florida. They didn't lose to UCF the way Oklahoma State did. They beat Florida in Florida. And let's talk about Louisville. Louisville is a better team than Oklahoma State. Much better team. They have a better offense than Oklahoma State, and our defense was lights out. They weren't good. They were great.
All right,
Florida State should be the 3rd-ranked team in the country.
I don't know any of this except I find him very compelling in his
The challenge here is Texas beat Alabama by 10 in week 3. You're correct, it was early in the year, but they won on the road at Bryant-Denny. So I think the challenge for the committee is I don't think you can put Alabama in without putting Texas in. They finished with the same record, 12-1. They won the head-to-head. The number one rule of sports, as you well know, when you have a tie is how do you decide the tie? Who won the head-to-head? Yes, Texas lost to Oklahoma, but Oklahoma's a pretty good team, 10-2. They lost with 15 seconds left. That was a battle, rivalry game, neutral site field. I think the committee got it right. And I actually think, and this is going to really drive Florida State fans, and you're really going to tee off now, Byron, when you hear this. I actually think Florida State should have been ranked 7. I think they should have been behind Georgia at 5 and behind Ohio State at 6. I don't even think they were a top 6 team.
That makes no sense at all. Let's go back to the Red River Shootout. You just said that they won in the last 15 seconds over Oklahoma. It's a rivalry game. Clay, what do you think Florida State is, man? It's a long-standing rivalry game.
But Florida's not any good.
Hold on. Stop. And Oklahoma
this year.
Is? Stop that.
Oklahoma's 10-2. Florida finished 5-7.
They lost 2 games. I thought the games didn't matter. It's how you look. Well, Oklahoma lost 2 games. Like, this is what I'm saying. All I'm saying is this. Florida State's defense is easily top 4. Our defense is better than Washington's, and I would argue our defense is better than Michigan's. That's number 1. Number 2, yes, we don't have Jordan Travis anymore. Freak injury, sorry for him, and I hope his future continues. And I think, the reports of his surgery are that it went well. But there has been no evidence on the field at any point in this season that Texas is better than Florida State. And I will back up a point that you made. The committee knew they had to put Alabama in, and the only way they could justify it was have Texas jump 4 spots on the last day of the season to jump over Florida State. Even when Texas beat Bama back on week 3, they didn't jump 4 spots.
I agree with you that the committee – here's where we agree. The committee set itself up for a problem when they put Florida State at 4 and when they had Texas at 7 and Alabama at 8. They were hoping, I think, that this would resolve itself because if Georgia would have beaten Alabama, I think they would have probably kept Florida State in, and they would have then had Texas as the 4, right? I think that's the way this thing would have shaken out. But I think that they are they would have put Florida State at the 4 and Texas would have been at the 5. I think that's probably what they would have done if Georgia had gone on and won. But, man, what they should do, and what I wish everybody had just said was, let's go ahead and put the 12-team playoff in, implement it a year early. This is where you need like a grandmaster of the commissioner, like somebody who is in charge of the overall landscape, Buck. I think even you would agree with this. Go ahead and start the 12-team playoff early. That would have been the right choice. Boom, you put it all in place.
No, now, Clay, here's something I will agree with you on. What the committee should have really done is they should have said, okay, oops, we got called because Bama beat Georgia. By the way, I was calling that game before it happened. I thought Bama could beat Georgia. I'm going to move aside. They should have easily been like, dang, being Florida State has to be in. Hey, sorry, Texas, but you beat Bama when Bama was weak and they're strong now. And on a neutral field, Texas cannot beat Alabama. Not today. And we all know that. That's number 1. Number 2, what they really could have done is said, you know what? Orange Bowl and some other bowl, yeah, we need Georgia to play Texas, and we need Alabama to play Florida State, and then Georgia and then Michigan and Washington to get a bye. Yep. They could have went to a 16 real fast, and everybody would have been okay. The players would have been like, oh, let's do it, and it would have made more money for college football. Because we got to, at the end of the day, this is about money. My biggest issue with the committee is this. We have to fully acknowledge now that this is about money. It is not about amateurism. They want the most eyeballs on the screens, and that's why they moved Texas up 4 spots over Florida State. It's a travesty of justice. Nothing like this has ever occurred in college sports. I mean, the committee might as well be the Russian judge, as far as I'm concerned. Now, who could bring this together? You know, if we actually had a president of the United States that was awake and knew how to lead, he could step in and be like, hey, man, we're going to have one of these games on the National Mall, and the other game could be down at the Orange Bowl, and then that's how we'll do it if you're concerned about venue seating. Or you can always call Jerry Jones. You know, the $1 billion playpen's always available.
I agree 100% with you. I would love if Joe Biden, if he could wake him up and if he knew what was going on, if he just came out and said, hey, I'm in favor of expanding the playoff to 6, what do I need to do to make it happen? If I were president of the United States, I'm not kidding, I would do that. I bet if you were president of the United States, you would do it. I'm sure some people would criticize it. Every college football fan in America would vote for us for the rest of their lives.
Well, listen, I'm going to be very clear. I'm in favor of this because I'm a Florida State Seminole. I'm an alumni. Graduated in 2002. I love my team. We've been in the valley. We're back at the top. We should be at the mountaintop because, by the way, if we were number 3, we beat Washington on a neutral field because I don't like Washington's defense. I never have all year. I think we beat Washington, and then you see what happens. But I digress. It's probably not going to happen. Look, at the end of the day, man, these are kids. Some of them a little bit older because of COVID, extra years. So some of them are 24 years old, 23, 24. My son plays college football at the FCS level. You just want the kids who work hard to be rewarded for working hard. And what we have to acknowledge is that the Russian judge committee that runs the college football playoff has put a stink and a stain on this year's playoff. Because if you're really going to choose the best 4 teams, you ready for this? The best 4 teams are Michigan, Washington, Alabama, and Georgia. So if you're going to do it that way, those are the best 4 teams, and Georgia should be in the playoff because they only lost by 3 on the road.
Do you agree with that, Clay?
Neutral fight, they lost by 3.
I agree with you. Georgia got screwed in this process, too. Congressman Byron Donalds, we appreciate it. Look forward to seeing you again in person. Good luck to your Seminoles in the Orange Bowl. If you beat Georgia, you might be the only undefeated team in the country.
Listen, we beat Georgia. We the national champions, baby. I'm telling you that right now.
I bet there will be a parade at Disney World if the Florida State Seminoles go 14-0 and beat Georgia. Appreciate the time, my man.
All right, take it easy.
I feel like I just woke up in the middle of high school geometry class. Like I have no idea what is going on.
People listening to us right now, Buck, either thought that's one of the best segments we've ever had, or they're like you. They're like, you might as well have been talking. That might have been in Sanskrit for some of you out there. But I feel like a huge percentage of our audience was all in. Producer Allie was deluged with VIP emails over this controversy. And like you said, with the clip you played, it's really kind of spiraled into a political story now.